Hello and welcome to Talk to Downtown. My name is Courtney Wood. I'm the Economic Development Director for the Downtown Stockton Alliance, the 501c6 nonprofit property-based business improvement district serving downtown Stockton. This series is intended to connect our business owners, property owners, visitors, and residents with the organizations, people, and resources which impact our community. Today we have a special guest, Jason Perry. He's the General Manager for ASM Global Stockton. He's going to be talking with us today about some of the venues that his company manages in downtown. We'll begin by having Jason share a little bit about himself and how it led him to working at ASM Stockton. Then I'll go ahead and ask him a list of questions I've outlined for him. And at the end, we will open it up for viewer questions. So if you guys do have a question for Jason, please type it in as a comment and we will get to it towards the end of the live. And with that, I want to say welcome, Jason. Thanks so much for being our guest. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how it led you to working at ASM Stockton.
Absolutely. Good morning, Courtney. Thanks for having me. Certainly appreciate this opportunity to speak with everyone and continue, our solid partnership with Downtown Stockton Alliance, because it's critical that we all, as businesses in the community, partner and work together in a collaborative effort. So a little bit about me. I am originally from New Hampshire. I was born and raised in New Hampshire. By the luck of a draw, I attended the University of New Hampshire because I put all of the schools that I was attended or accepted into a hat, drew one, and that's where I ended up. So I blame the University of New Hampshire for getting me into this industry, because it is definitely not what I thought was going to be my career path or my life goal by any means. I was going to school to be a therapist.
Oh, wow.
Psychology was certainly my passion and my drive, which is now really my focus in my nonprofit life, with helping children through Make-A-Wish, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Boys and Girls Club, as well as the children's hospitals. But fortunately for me, I had a friend who swayed me into getting into the industry, told me it was going to be a fun job. And we had just opened an arena on our campus, so I took the opportunity to get into our box office and start selling tickets. It became really fun, and within a few months, I was like, oh, this is exciting and new and nothing I ever thought of. Growing up, I had been to Ice Capades, or Disney on Ice is known now, a couple of concerts, but never really thought about it as a career, never really thought about what it all entailed. And back in the 90s, they certainly didn't have a career path for such an industry job. So getting right in on the ground level, I just sort of wanted to fully immerse myself beyond the box office and truly learn the business inside and out. And I did just that. And I left the Whittemore Center Arena in Durham, New Hampshire, and went and worked for the Carolina Hurricanes under Kane management in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, before accepting a job with then SMG in Manchester, New Hampshire, to open a new venue there. SMG has since become ASM Global. And I spent a lot longer in New Hampshire than I originally decided, but I went from box office manager to director of sales and marketing to assistant general manager and director of sales and marketing before coming here to Stockton. My first experience with Stockton was December of 2019. I flew in for an 8-hour day here in the city of Stockton, met with the city, did a quick tour of the venues, and then I was back out to go east. Accepted the position after I told myself I just needed some sort of sign as to why I should go to Stockton. And 5 years prior, in the building that I was the assistant GM at, I happened to be walking the concourse, and we did an installation for one of our sponsors. And in that installation, there was a graphic that said Stockton, California. And I said, well, you can't get more of a literal sign than that. So I made the corporate office know that I was going to take this job and relocate. Little did I know what was going to happen with COVID. So the day the country shut down in March 2020 was the same day that the movers took all of my belongings, everything I had except for a suitcase and a few things to travel across the country. And my move was put on hold. I stayed remote, working both the Manchester venue and the 5 venues here in Stockton for 5 months before moving across country and rejoining my belongings. So it was nice after 5 months to be able to sleep in my own bed and no longer live on a twin air mattress in the spare room of a friend's place. So it was good. It was a journey. And as they say, the rest is history. Stockton has been very welcoming and opening since day one. In the city of Stockton, the leadership, both on the political side and non-political side, from city manager on down, have been very welcoming, very supportive, and have a new energy and outlook for all of the venues that we oversee here. That's me.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's wonderful. Thanks for giving us the whole story, how you began, how you worked your way up, and how you came here to Stockton. We're happy to have you.
Absolutely. Sometimes I may share a little more than anybody ever wants.
Oh, no. Share as much as you have. It's what an interesting time, too, for you to come right there in the heart of the pandemic. So I'm sure, it's been an interesting transition from then until now.
Absolutely. Moving here in the pandemic with closed or shuttered venues, not really having any staff. We went from 450 people on payroll down to 23, and having to navigate that well across country. And then also trying to find a place during a pandemic, because I had rented a place. Pandemic hit, so they terminated my lease. And I didn't sign a new lease until I was driving, and I was in Arizona when I got the call that said that the place was available. So it was a journey, and one that I certainly wouldn't trade. It allowed me to resettle. It did make adjusting a little bit difficult because I was moving across country by myself. So my nearest friends and family were 3,500 miles away. But hey, we were not open a whole lot here in California when I got here. So it's not like I would have been able to hang out with people anyway.
You were all in.
That's right.
So can you remind everyone, just in case they're not familiar, what exactly does ASM Global do? And what venues do you oversee here? And how is your organization kind of connected with the city of Stockton?
Absolutely. So ASM Global is a private management firm for public assembly. So municipalities retain ASM Global for their level of expertise in the industry, their knowledge, and their bandwidth, and the ability to work directly with tours, promoters, sporting teams. As an organization, we operate over 375 buildings in 26 countries and 5 continents. But the only ones that really matter to all of us that are listening today, and you and I and everyone here in Stockton, are the 5 Stockton venues that we oversee, which is the Bob Hope Theater, the Adventist Health Arena, Stockton Ballpark, Oak Park Ice Rink, and Stockton Downtown Marina.
Wonderful.
And for us, our connection with the city is that the city has retained ASM for a number of years as their contract manager, and we operate the venue, and we control all expenses and revenues, and everything is funneled through the city of Stockton. So the city of Stockton has full purview of all of our financials, as well as our forecasted budgets, and what that looks like when it comes to contracting, whether it's sponsorship and or event booking. That is solely handled through myself under the ASM Global's purview in our contract.
Wonderful. So you're responsible for a lot of the venues, so many of the shows, and we're lucky. We have close proximity between a lot of these venues, and we have so many events going on throughout the year. So what do you think makes downtown Stockton such a great place for hosting entertainment?
Sure. I think the nice thing with the way the venues are laid out, it's also one of the challenges, but the close proximity that you mentioned, right? The ballpark and the arena sit right on the Delta, which is also where the Marina sits. It doesn't play a direct impact to the Marina, other than it does help add guest stocks, because people have the luxury of being able to come in on their boat and attend an event at either of the locations. But this part of the struggle does become, and I'll talk about the struggles and then the successes is right. The close proximity. So if the ports have an event, or if we have an event with the Stockton Lantern Festival that's going on now, and then we also host an event at the arena, there's a lot of traffic congestion. We're coming down a 2-lane road that goes into our building. So we could be welcoming, and there have been times where we welcomed roughly 16,000 people all at the same time. So traffic flow and parking becomes a struggle. But we certainly work beyond that because we work closely with LAS in the city of Stockton and Stockton PD to ensure that everyone's safe and traffic flow goes as fluid as possible. And those are systems that we continue to evolve and we look at from other markets so that we can make it the best experience for our guests. The positives about it is that it really becomes ease and feasible of walking. So the ballpark, the theater, and the arena are all quick, easy access from the 5 or the 4. Makes ingress and egress very easy for the public. And there are no real hidden spots. Like going to the Bob Hope is probably the most difficult, and that's just basically 3 turns off the freeway, so it's not that difficult.
No.
But it's just, they're all conveniently located, and it makes it easy for any of our shows that are coming in with tour buses or tractor trailers to quickly access the venues and not have to worry about maneuvering through a great deal of streets in tight spaces like they do in a lot of other cities. And then for us as individuals, it's nice and easy as employees because we can easily walk from the arena, which is where I'm housed, and go over to the ballpark, or just walk over to the Bob Hope Theater, as well as the Marina. Our furthest location is the Oak Park Ice Rink, which is just 3 miles away. We could walk it, but we choose to drive. But the convenience of it all makes it super easy for us to be able to manage and keep our finger on the pulse of each of our locations because of the close proximity, which I think also bodes well, not only for our guests, but as well as all the touring shows that come through our building, because they know that we can be there, even if we're hosting an event at all 3 sites, within 5 minutes.
That's very interesting how, most of them are in walking distance. And you're right. For visitors, they're really easy to get to from the freeway. It's really
Super
not difficult at all. So very easy to manage.
Couple of red lights and you're there.
So with all these venues, 2023 was a really busy year for you guys. Can you share with us what were some of the biggest acts or shows that came to the downtown Stockton venues?
Sure. So when we look at like Bob Hope, we had Brinkos, we had Bronco, we had Jerry Seinfeld. I'm trying to think of a couple of off the top of my head. All of those were sellout shows and sold out very quickly. Someone like Brinkos is coming back. That show should be selling out this for March, and we'll be adding a show in April just because of the extreme popularity. For the arena, we did televised Top Rank boxing, so that was seen in several countries around the world as putting the spotlight here on Stockton. And then, of course, we had Peso Pluma, which is the highest grossing show in the venue's history.
Wow.
Which also was one of the last smaller venues that he performed in. He's about ready to launch his stadium tour. So Stockton was very fortunate that we could leverage our partnership with Bobby D Presents and make sure that event actually happened here. We're going to continue to leverage our relationship with Bobby D to bring large events to Stockton, hopefully six or more concerts a year on top of the work that we're already doing and have done in the past. So 2023 was a really powerful year for us. We also launched the first ever Stockton Lantern Festival in our partnership with Tiana Yu. And it is a spectacular show that was slated to run 52 nights. It only ended up running, or will have run, 48 nights due to 4 rain nights. But it's a fully immersive experience, and it's the first time that we have activated the ballpark to this magnitude. And it's also the first time the city of Stockton in the Central Valley has had an event that has run that length of time and to the scope and the size and mass of it. So it was really good experience for us. We're really pleased with the first year's outcome. The city is extremely pleased. The amount of social media exposure that we received, as well as the national media, has been absolutely phenomenal. Also, in 2023, we had the pleasure for the first time of putting a name on our building. So the formerly Stockton Arena is now the Adventist Health Arena. It was a mission of mine when I came here in 2020. I told the city of Stockton that I was going to ensure that we had a name on that building if it was the last thing that I did. In April, I went to them and said, I think the time is now. The city said, are you sure? I said, yep. They're like, you might be crazy, but let's do this. And we launched it. In 2023, we also put in a new video board production room and LED lighting control system in the arena for a project that was just under $3 million. So 2023 was a large year with roughly just under 280 events that we did. And that doesn't include what we do at Oak Park. So Park operates about 350 days a year. So figure Oak Park ice rink, 12 hours a day, 350 days a year, on top of the 280 or so events that we were able to accomplish in 2023.
Wow, that's excellent. Like, what a great success story. 2023 was planned. It was super busy and successful. I love it.
Yeah, it was great. My staff sometimes thinks I'm crazy because we have a full-time staff, and this includes 24-hour security of 27 people to manage all of the sites. So they're like, are you kidding me? Another event? But at the same breath, they're super excited and grateful for what we're doing for the Stockton community, because we've truly put Stockton on the map at a national level in a very positive spotlight as it relates to entertainment.
Oh, definitely. Love hearing that you had so many sold out shows.
And so do we, and we're looking for 24 and more.
So, speaking of shows, are there certain types that you think get better attendance than others? Like maybe are concerts better attended than maybe Disney on Ice or something,
So Disney on Ice is slightly a different animal. We have Disney on Ice coming up in a couple of weeks, and that should this year's Disney on Ice, we're slated to break a record for Disney on Ice. So hopefully setting a record here in Stockton that outpaces any other Disney on Ice that's been hosted. So that puts us off to a great start for 2024 and more. But Disney on Ice, we should, in 4 days, welcome nearly 40,000 guests into the building, which is really great. And that'll be over 7 shows.
Wow.
But shows that really do seem to do well here are our Latin-based performances, both at the Adventist Health Arena and the Bob Hope Theater. With Stockton's population being primarily Latina, Hispanic, it plays well to our community at large, and that's something that's really important to us, not only as a management company, but I also know it's important to city leadership. So we really look at that. And then you have random things that are sort of off the wall that, we don't really necessarily think of as driving a lot of business, but we do jiu-jitsu competitions. We're the largest in Northern California at this point. We pulled it from San Jose and brought it here in 2021 and have really grown that business. So with jiu-jitsu, in the 4 to 5 days that we perform throughout the year, we welcome anywhere from 45 to 55,000 people into the arena. Jams, which we just expanded and pulled. We used to operate just twice a year, both in the spring and the fall. This year we expanded to including an event in December, pulling it from another market because of this true success story that we've had with Jams over the last couple of years. And the future is bright with us and Jams cheerleading. And that brings in roughly 30,000 people in the 3 days to our community. So when we look at things, it really has a different perspective. And when we look at the totality of it, right, is what's really important to us. So, the Stockton Kings are our hometown basketball team.
Yeah.
They're here for 24 games, so they may not have what appears to the public as a large group of individuals at any one game, but the cumulus of all of that does certainly add up. It makes a positive impact for our community, and it's one that Stockton is proud of, and we can only hope as a venue operator in working closely with our G League Stockton Kings. There we go. Great picture. That we get more people to come out and support them, because it is great basketball. It's a great experience. It's family fun, affordability. I believe tickets, you can get a reasonable ticket
Really.
for like $10. So it's hard not to say that it's not a family affordable event. And then they offer some family meal deals sometimes that also help enhance that. So it's great entertainment. It's great basketball. Not to mention that now with the new full 360 LED board, the new lights and the ribbon boards, it really makes the experience more immersive and fully involved. So you get to see these players up close and personal. This new video board, for those that haven't seen it, is like watching 4K TV at home in high def. It's a high def board. Everyone is larger than life. It's crystal clear through the video cameras of the athletes, and the display is 20 feet by 30 feet. So it's an extremely large board. The old board was 10 by 10, so it's more than 2 times that size. And as I call the old board, it was definitely for those of us that are old enough to know, it was a light bright. It had very small pixel quality, so it was like 30 megapixels, and now we're down to under 6 megapixels. So it truly is like watching TV at home. It's amazing, and it has only enhanced the experience when you're at a Stockton Kings game. We debuted it at the PBR event, so professional bull riding, which is another event that we're really growing. So we brought PBR back to Stockton. They had been gone for over 10 years. We brought them back just 2 years ago. And year one, we were like, okay, this did all right. It wasn't great, but everyone made a couple dollars. We expanded the business, the growth. There were more people in attendance in 2023, and we really look to see that continue in 2024. And hopefully by 2025, we'll be able to add more than one performance with PBR. And that's really our goal, right, is to continue to develop and grow activities that are great for the entire family. This year we'll be debuting another family show that's never been in Stockton that'll be coming out in June. We should be announcing it in the next month or so, but it's going to be a phenomenal show. It's a great experience. It's more tailored to the young boys, but there will be a lot of young girls as well at this event, because it's a lot of fun, and it has sold out every performance in other markets over the last 2 years. So we're super excited. It's been a lot of work in making it happen, but we secured it, and it'll be here in June. So I think 2024 is going to be really exciting. And when we look at what does well, what doesn't do well, we have not, knock on wood, since I've been here, had any show not be successful. So every show has had a positive economic impact for the venues as well as the city at large, and in the whole San Joaquin Central Valley area. It's the number of people that we're bringing to the community, the people that we're driving to our local restaurants, bars, truly help generate a positive impact on our community that is felt well beyond the venues. It also brings people from far and wide to our community that otherwise might not be here, and it's changing what Stockton is known for and what Stockton feels like, looks like, and is perceived. We had people for Stockton Lantern Festival, as I said, which proved to be very successful in year one. But we had, because I monitor all the social media, people that came up from LA in December. And then on one of their posts, they said that they tagged us in. They said that they were going to be getting more friends from LA, and they were going to be making a return visit up to Stockton Lantern Festival because it was that amazing for them, and that they wanted other people to see it. I was talking to older woman in her 80s not too long ago, right before the holidays, and she was up from LA as well. And she said, I wish LA could have something like this. So Stockton's certainly doing it right and moving that needle forward and making impressions. And you know, if we're making LA jealous, then it's a good thing.
I'd love to hear that. Yes, you're really driving tourism to our downtown, you know, and that's fueling economic development. It's just wonderful. So you have so many different types of that you book. I'm curious to know, are you typically the one going out and recruiting them to come to Stockton? Or do you find that the talent is usually kind of coming to you and saying, hey, can we use your venue? Or is it a mix of both?
So most of it is relationships. I mean, I'm, as I tell people, old as a dinosaur. So, you know, it's relationships that we've built over the years, people that we just know. So I deal with people from coast to coast. I have a lot of connections on the East Coast, having hailed from there, but we've made a lot of strong inwards in connections here in the West Coast booking region as well as a result. So work with promoters on a regular basis to see what will work. We reach out to them and talk to them. On occasion, they'll reach out to us and say, hey, we think this will make sense. What do you think? Can you make it work? We'll say yes or no. For us, it's all about a true partnership. We want to make sure that anything that we venture into makes sense for everyone. We don't want to be the ones that only win and then the shows lose, because if that's the case, they're not going to come back. So we need to make sure that everyone, for a lack of a better word, is fed. So that way, true success happens in true partnerships, and every aspect of what we do is a true and meaningful partnership. Most of the shows, or all of the shows up to this point, have been under my direction and my work with booking, because we haven't had anybody in a role of booking beyond myself. As of this past Monday, we did hire a booking manager, or excuse me, a director of booking. She just moved up from LA to Stockton. So she and her family have relocated from 30 years in LA to Stockton, and calling it their new home. So the hope is that once she gets situated, she and I will be able to book the venues together. She'll be tasked with really focusing on the Bob Hope Theater, because we can have the most amount of growth there. And our goal is to really double in the next year the amount of business that we're doing at the theater, which would put us well over the 300 events a year between the arena, the ballpark, and the theater at that point. So it'll be a collaborative and collective effort, both using our connections and our ties within the industry. And as we continue to develop positive, impactful stories for the Stockton market around entertainment, then there'll be certain shows that are like, hey, we want to be there. We want to play, because we're providing a quality experience for the public, but also for the artist backstage. It's all about the full 360 approach. So our public has to enjoy it, as do the artists. So we need to make sure that their experience back of house is extremely important as well, and that they're well catered for.
Wonderful. You're really building up the reputation of downtown Stockton as, you know, a destination for this talent, for these concerts. It's wonderful. So are there any types of shows that you think we need more of, or that we haven't had downtown that you just would love to come here?
You know, I think more shows that would be nice to have would be to expand on our R&B market, to expand on our country market, and classic rock. There hasn't been a whole lot of it. We tend to do one R&B show a year, one country show a year, and one classic rock show. Most notably recently were Cody Johnson, complete sellout in April. Journey and Toto, just shy of a sellout in April as well. And then Catch You on the Rebound this past August. And I think really our goal and our hope is that we can continue to expand that, because those are markets that that are really underserved in this community. You know, especially with our country shows, a lot of people come out from the foothills, so it's good to see them coming into downtown Stockton, because otherwise they have no other reason to come in. So I think if we can continue to do that, I think that we're going to head in the right direction. We know that our niche market is certainly the Latin shows, and we'll continue to really work hard and book those, as well as comedy. Comedy, everyone needs a laugh. We all take life so seriously, so it's good sometimes to just come out and laugh. I tell myself all the time, we have the best jobs in the world because people choose to spend time with us. It's their choice. They don't have to spend time with us, and we become part of the memories and the moments that they experience and cherish for life, because we may have a lot going on in our life, but once you go into a venue, whether it's for sporting a game, a concert, a comedy show, a family show, you forget about everything that you're dealing with in the world at that moment, and you just embrace yourself, you're present, and you enjoy. And for those few hours they get to spend with us, they just get to be happy and create new lasting memories. And for us, it's absolutely critical that we continue to move that forward and that needle forward, so that we cover all genres and all people, and make sure that people can come out to our venues in downtown Stockton as frequently as possible.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's just a chance to kind of forget about the troubles and just enjoy what you're watching, enjoy what you're experiencing.
Exactly.
So is there one act in particular that you just would love to bring downtown that hasn't come here yet? That when you have your sights set on? I know you said there's something coming in June, and you can't tell us yet what that is. So I don't know if that's
there's certainly a lot of artists that we would love to have here. I mean, of course, we'd love to have Beyonce and Taylor Swift. They're just not going to happen. We're not that size. Our ballpark's a little bit smaller than 70,000, 80,000 people. But that doesn't mean that, we won't continue to shoot for the stars, because there are opportunities. There's an artist that I've been in conversations with that I would really love to play our theater. She is way bigger than what the theater would be, but it would be an opportunity to have a A-list artist who has sold out San Francisco, sold out Sacramento, sold out LA, played a stadium tour. It would be a great opportunity to be able to have this female artist play our theater, because it would be intimate. Yes, it would be costly, but it would be an intimate experience that you would get nowhere else. So you might see this artist in a stadium in other markets, but the goal would be, let's get this for Stockton in our theater, because it's the only intimate play you will ever experience. So those are types of things that I work on, and things that I really want to see make happen for our community, because it gives us another reason how we can stand out, how we can showcase who we are and what we are, and make it a great experience for everyone. Because if we do that, and then the artist gets out, and just word gets out, maybe we become also that intimate market where some of these artists who wouldn't otherwise play can play. So our goal is, if we can do it, if we can get one to say yes, then they become the model for success. Exactly. So it's my hope is that we can make stuff like that happen. We're also working with Bobby D, who brought us Peso Pluma. We have Always and Forever coming in March through Bobby D. But there are a couple of other artists that we just really both with Hispanic Latin music, as well as R&B, hip hop, that we're really working with him to bring to our community, so that we can welcome 10,000 people on a given night. For the theater, we look at a lot of comedy, a lot of family shows with Sesame Street Live, Blippi, and then our concert series that we tend to do there. But we'd really like to expand private parties and what were happening at the theater, because it's such a beautiful and historic site that may have a false perception on the outside, but once you walk in through the doors, you're like, wow, this is absolutely stunning and beautiful. And we'd really like to expand on that and what we're doing, so that we can have more private functions in the lobby and really see how it happens. And my goal is at some point, and it would be out of my purview and not something that I really have to work on, but I would really like for the farmers market to be outside of the theater, that whole stretch, every Saturday or Sunday, so that we sort of mirror what Sacramento does. Just because I think it would bode well. You've got the nice trees that overhang and offer some shadow, and maybe it ends up, and that's how we get the light strung across the street. So it just gives this really cool vibe and experience, and throwback, because you've got the history there. And then, farmers markets just really, in my opinion, a throwback to history and the way things should be in the simpler way, in the clean foods and all of the support of local businesses. And I think it could all have a amazing tie. And to that point, it would not ever impact what we're doing at the theater, because we don't traditionally do shows, from 9 to noon on
In the morning.
Saturday or Sunday. So I just think it could bode well for our community and showcase the theater in a different way.
I love that. And I know the farmers market at one time was right there in the front on Fridays. I used to help out a vendor there. So I would love to see that happen again. It was
so
really...
what I'm hearing right here and now is that you're going to make it happen, Courtney.
We'll see. I'm definitely open to seeing how we could. That would be really, really neat.
I look forward to going there to get my fruits and vegetables.
Sounds good. So with all these events, you have to kind of think through how much to charge for your ticket prices. What percent of the ticket price goes to kind of maintaining all of these venues? Because that's really something we need to do.
Right. So traditionally, the way it works is the shows themselves set ticket prices. They have pricing structure that they want to make sure that they fall in line with, whether it's across markets, whether it's their market research in a particular region, or you have some artists that are like, no, I don't want it to exceed X ticket price. And then they just figure out what they're getting paid from there. But most of ticket revenue goes directly to the artist. So the way venues sort of survive and operate is a combination of things. So we charge the artist or the promoter a rental structure, and that really is to cover all of the expenses that we operate under. And then from there, when we look at the impact on the venues, we get a percent of food and beverage that operates and supports the venue operations. A portion of the artist merchandise, the venue or the artist pay us to be able to have their merchandise sales here and us to sell them. And then there's also built in what's called facility fee, which I'll speak a little bit about because a lot of people don't understand facility fee. And when they're seeing it online, through Ticketmaster or through us, it's all part of the cost of the ticket. So if it's a $20 ticket, it's a $24 charge, and we just advertise $24. But the facility fee is really designed and it's standard throughout our industry. And it's basically what it's called. The facility fee is to help cover the costs of the facility, the operating costs. So you've got the full-time salary labor, you've got lights, building maintenance, and upgrades. So that facility fee is absolutely critical in the continued operation and success of all venues, especially when you look at a historic venue like the Bob Hope Theater that requires a certain amount of attention and detail. The arena is a large building that requires a lot of upkeep and work. And the best way that I describe it to people at all levels, both in my personal life, professional life, is that all of these venues is like your home or your car. You do regular maintenance on your car, whether it's brakes, tires, or oil change. On your house, you have to replace your furnace, you have to replace your HVAC system, you have to put a new roof and new windows on. It's the same thing with these venues. It's just at a much grander scale. Your furnace at your house might only cost $10,000. Well, here you're looking at $400,000. So the scope and the magnitude is just amplified, but all of it stays consistent with home and automobile upkeep. It's all very much consistent in the same. And there's just needs to be a way for that to happen. in most markets of Stockton size, or what we call tertiary markets in our industry, they have some sort of subsidy from the municipality. We bring in all the revenues, everything goes streaming back to the municipality, but they have to offset. There are expenses that go along with the general operation of the building. Our goal is to continuously maintain a quality of level, both on the venues side of what the experience is like, and make sure that we're staying at a standard, while minimizing the amount of costs that are incurred. And Stockton has been really good since I've been here at investing in our venues, utilizing the venue revenues to reinvest into the properties and maintain them, and continue to look at a brighter and more resilient future than what has been done here at the past with the venues. So the future has been bright since I arrived in Stockton, and continues to look very bright and prosperous for all of us when we look at what will happen in these venues and the continuing expenditures that'll be needed as the venues start to approach. The arena and the theater start to approach their the arena and the ballpark start to approach their 20-year mark. The theater is just shy of 100 years. We're 5 years away from celebrating 100 years at the Ballpark Theater. And then Oak Park Ice Rink was built in the early 70s. So, that's at its 50 plus year mark at this point. So there are capital expenditures that have to go into that. And that's what a lot of that facility fee does, helps with general operations and upkeep, as well as the continued support of the municipality as they take pride in the venues and the facilities that they own.
Thank you. Thanks for outlining, some of the ways that you're able to make some money back, and for highlighting the importance of that facilities fee that someone might see on on their stay.
People are often confused by it, so it's always worth when we have the opportunity to discuss it and make it known, because it's really money going back into making these venues viable and stay here for future years, and future generations to be able to see and experience opportunity that they otherwise might not be able to do in their market if we weren't here. It's also the economic impact, right? It's, in tertiary markets, venues might have to be subsidized by a municipality, but the economic impact is far greater than that, from the amount of tourism that's being brought down to in a community, from meals and hotel room stays, parking, and all of that. Those are not revenues that we control or see part of. They're all done and handled through the individual businesses and or the city. But the economic impact is significantly greater than traditional subsidies that a government provides any of the venues.
Wonderful. So now I have more of a fun question. I'm wondering, do you personally attend every show? And if so, which shows have been your favorite?
So I attend 90% or better of all the events. Of our 48 nights of Stockton Lantern Festival, I will have missed 4 of the 48.
Wow. Nice.
And in the 52 days at the conclusion of Stockton Lantern Festival, we'll have had just over 70 events, and I'll have attended all but 4 of them. So yeah, I'm here more than not. And, each one that I attend holds some sort of different special place for me. So, when I'm at the Stockton Kings games, I may not be paying a lot of attention to the game. I'll go out and I'll socialize with the ticket buyers and the people that are there, just because it's always nice to stay connected and rooted to the people that help support both your local sports, but as well as your venues. But that type of event also allows me the opportunity to really get engaged with our staff, our part-time staff, just because there's not as large of a crowd and we don't have as many people demanding of our time. So I get to really spend some quality time talking with each one of our staff members, just checking in with them, making sure that they are aware that we care and that we know, and make sure that their family is good and all of that good stuff. But then, our Latin shows, I really need to learn Spanish because the amount of energy, whether it's here at the arena or the Bob Hope Theater, is intense. Like, I love the beat that is happening with the music. I enjoy the lyrics that I can't understand, but the energy in the crowd is intense. Like, you feel it, you can't help but find yourself dancing and getting really into it, as the crowd's singing along and me in oblivion, not having a clue. But I feel like, I really know it's happening and I don't. It just sort of, it brings you in. It's a lot of fun.
Like a
Or
party.
exactly. You don't have to know the lyrics. You just have to feel the energy and the vibe that's happening, and it's great. But I also, having spent so many nights at the Stockton Lantern Festival, each time I walked that field, I saw something new and something that just really resonated with me. But more importantly, I got to listen to and speak to so many of the people that came through our gates. From the young children who you just wanted to know what was in their head as they were in awe, looking at these things larger than life, and just the smiles on their face, or looking. I remember this one little boy who was probably 3 years old, and he was looking at this really large spider, and he's like, "Look, Mom, it's a spider. I'm not so scared anymore." And that's part of like the journey with Coda, and it's overcoming fears and enjoying new experiences. So they all hold truly a special place for me, because I enjoy the interaction with the public. I enjoy getting to see the just wow factor on their face, or people talking after a concert about the experience that they had. Because like I said earlier on, we are super fortunate that we have the jobs that we have to be able to experience this opportunity with people and spend that time with them. We may not be with people directly, but I say to people, I am in hundreds of thousands of Christmas cards moments because there are so many experiences that I've had the pleasure of being part of. Having just started this career in 1997, I have seen well over 2,000 events and partaked in all of that. So it's been a great experience, both on the front of house side of things, so out in the public facing side, as well as the back of house. So, interacting with the artists and dealing with artist management. It's always an experience, and you get to have a new perspective and appreciation for some people that you otherwise may not have. Because a lot of people put a lot of these artists on pedestals, and they've done some tremendous and great things in their careers for sure. But at the end of the day, they're just people too, and they just want to be treated like people.
Very cool. So you're almost always there. So
Yes.
anyone who
I
goes,
questioned why I bought a house. I was like, I'm not at my house.
like, is there caught caught in the Bob Hope? So if you guys are planning to attend any events, keep your eye out for Jason. Sounds like he loves to chat with attendees. Wants to know what you're thinking, how your experience was. That's really cool, Jason. I love to hear that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's important. It's important to me, and my team. Like, my team knows I'm always accessible. But we also believe in our community and giving back to our community. So when I got here in Stockton, I also started our community outreach and giving back. So every month we as a volunteer, we as a full-time team go out and volunteer in our community. So team members select where they want to volunteer that month. This month we happen to be going to St. Mary's Dining Hall, so we'll go out there and serve meals. But we also do park beautification and random things, community gardens. But it's our whole full 360 approach, right? So we want to be able to appreciate and show respect to our guests in our community, because if at large we're not supported by all, then we won't be successful. And our ability to give back in a multitude of ways is absolutely critical to our continued success here.
That's wonderful to hear about giving back. I love to hear that when you guys are really investing in the community, back into
Absolutely. It we have to. It's not something that's done. There are not a lot necessarily organizations out there that do it. I was on with a law firm out in the Bay talking, and I had to reschedule a call because we were doing a volunteer event out in December. And then when I got back on with them the following day, it resonated with the law firm. They were like, oh, we thought we were really good by, buying ornaments and putting it under a tree for a charity, but you make us realize that we could be doing so much more. And I was like, right, 4 to 8 hours a month volunteering as an office is a tremendous impact. And that law firm out in the Bay is really looking at potentially starting something in 2024, at least on a quarterly basis, because it's easier to start quarterly than jump right in and do it 12 times a year.
Yeah. But that's still doable, 4 to 8 hours. And look, you've now inspired another business to do the same.
That's our goal. Move that needle.
Love it. Okay, so now I'd like to kind of talk more about the Stockton Lantern Festival, because you brought it up a couple of times, but let's just kind of talk a little bit about what exactly it is, in case anyone listening isn't familiar yet, and how did the idea for this come about? I'm really curious.
Sure. So the Stockton Lantern Festival is a fully immersive experience where you walk through the Stockton Ballpark, down on the ballpark field, and see these larger than life lanterns. Lanterns range from 2 feet tall to 55 feet tall. And it's the journey of a boy named Coda, and he's on business travels with his father in Peru, and he ventures into the rainforest and just sees all these really cool things that also, maybe gave him a little bit of a fear. And as he was walking through, he just overcame some of these fears, whether it was spiders or this large gorilla or this 100-foot long snake. And not all of it is scary at all, he realized. When he got back to the hotel, he couldn't sleep because he was so excited. So he jotted everything down to tell his story. And so we basically took the story and the renderings and brought these things larger to life. Like on the screen right now, you see a large dome that's filled with hundreds of butterflies that change color. It's super cool. Some of these lanterns, you actually are involved in changing the color scheme of them. Some of them you are activating, whether they're blowing smoke. Some are playing a game when you're off in the swamp with the frogs. You can get a dragon to move and breathe smoke and activate. It's really cool. It's an experience that we spent 2 years, I say we and myself, working with Tiana Yu, company based out of Chicago with their corporate headquarters in China. We really were working with them on how could we create this new experience in Stockton that would be unique and unlike any other. So I explored the ballpark with them. They thought it was a great idea. They had never used a ballpark. Everything that they traditionally do are in zoos or botanical gardens. So closest would be Reno at the botanical gardens in the summer. Same time of year for us is at the Oakland Zoo. So it's more of a direct path, and lanterns just sporadically hidden. I have had the fortunate to see 6 different shows before the Stockton Lantern Festival in different parts of this country before we made the green light go ahead. And as soon as we put the contract together in partnership with Tiana Yu to make this a multi-year event, they went straight full speed ahead because our timeline was so tight. They had to stop all production in their factory of any other lanterns and fully work on the Stockton Lantern Festival. And it took over 200 artisans 2.5 months to build the lanterns that we have here in Stockton. It took 2.5 months to ship them from China in 67 cargo containers. Most of them arrived at the Port of Oakland, were trucked over, with the exception of 15 cargo containers because the ship could not get to Oakland fast enough. It had to port in LA, and we trucked them up from LA.
Wow.
It took 5 weeks, continual work and multiple shifts to build these massive lantern structures here at the ballpark so that we could open on November 24th. And everyone could enjoy the experience, which has been absolutely welcoming, wowing for so many people, return visitors and all. Little fun facts about it is there's over 100 tons of steel to produce these lanterns, over 85,000 square feet of fabric, over 65,000 feet of LED lighting, and it's the first of its kind because of the sheer magnitude and everything being a visual experience all at one. All of the trees throughout our ballpark, including the one that is sitting outside in the parking lot, all change in the sequence. So there's one computer that's in the large center tree that's 55 feet tall, and it wirelessly connects to all the other trees so that they
Wow.
change in sequence and create this whole new experience. We're currently now working with Tiana U as we wrap up this year's Stockton Lantern Festival on January 14th. We're already in conversations about what next year's design is going to be and how we can really enhance the experience for the public, because we know that next year is going to completely wow everyone, more so than this year. And the great thing and the unique thing about the Stockton Lantern Festival design and model is all the other ones that they do are not a storyline. They're not a very specific theme. So Stockton has a theme, it has a storyline, and it will stay true to that model. Whereas the botanical gardens and or the zoos, they are just a spattering of these cool, very cool lanterns nonetheless, because they're still absolutely phenomenal experiences, but they're not themed. Like, it's just a flow. So you may see a lot more like Chinese themed lanterns or animals than what you saw at ours that tie into like the zoo or flowers at the botanical gardens. But ours tells you a full story. Not to mention that we have, artists from China that are here. So we have artisans that help stay on top of these lanterns. So if we see one of the lanterns ripped, we tell them, and within minutes they're responding and fixing. Their response time is absolutely amazing, as well as the stage shows we have. So we have 7 artists or performers in from China that do traditional Chinese acrobatic shows. During the week it's 3 performances, and on weekends we do it 4 performances. So it's just a good overall experience that doesn't only tailor to children, but it really is of all ages. You see the kids out there having fun, parents walking and having fun. I've seen groups of guys come, groups of girls show up, teenagers on a date, parents out on a date. It's just, work groups. It's really good experience for you to walk and just talk and see, and everyone has a different perspective. And every time that I'm there, and depending who I walk through with, gives me a whole new perspective of the experience. But it's fully immersive, and there's nowhere that you are on that field that you don't get just wowed by some sort of light and lantern.
Totally agree. If you have not yet checked this festival out, there's 4 days left where you can, but it's beautiful. It's just stunning. Just like the photos we were showing, you're just surrounded by these like beautiful lit up creatures, and it is wonderful. And kind of like what you were saying, Jason, I have been there. I have been back since the first time I went, like with a different group. And you're right, like people point out different things. There's just so much to look at, and it's just a wonderful ambiance to enjoy. It's a wonderful winter wonderland, and I'm excited to hear that it's coming back.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing is, it's not holiday themed, but it does have a holiday vibe to it because of all the lights and lanterns. And we launched a sensory night too. So January 8th, this past Monday, we had a sensory night, which was hugely successful. So we tamed down the experience a little bit. The music was a little softer, some of the flashing lights didn't flash, and the feedback has been absolutely phenomenal. And we had 3 times the people that we were really anticipating coming out for that night. So will certainly be something that we recreate next year, where we look to have a sensory night or probably earlier in the season, and depending on demand, maybe duplicating it later in the season as well. But for us, it was really important that we cater to all persons, that they can come out and enjoy such a beautiful experience.
That's wonderful. And just if anyone does want to check out the festival before it wraps up, can you give us an idea of the hours and the pricing of tickets?
Absolutely. So everything is listed online at StocktonLanternFestival.com. That'll direct you right to the pages for the event. But also we operate now, today being Wednesday, so Wednesday through Sunday being the last day, opening gates at 5 o'clock every single day, and the show goes dark at 10 p.m. Last entry is allowed into the ballpark at 9 p.m. You can purchase tickets online at Ticketmaster.com or right in person at the Stockton Ballpark. Ballpark box office opens at 2 p.m. daily. Tickets do start, youth tickets for weekdays start at $19. Adults are $23. They go up slightly for weekend performances. And if you buy day of, I believe that there is a bump. So always recommend, if you know you want to go on Friday, come down and buy your tickets before Friday, save a few dollars, because you're probably going to want some of that extra cash in your pocket so that you can buy some of these really cool Chinese handmade merchandise, and experience some of the custom tailored drinks and food that the Stockton Ports, who operate the concession stands, has put together for this event.
Yeah, there's even snacks.
We all like food while we walk around. And hot drinks. We require them to serve some hot drinks because it does get a little cool, as we all know, at night here in Stockton. So you can get a nice warm drink, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and walk around and enjoy.
I love it. Thank you. Yes. So please come down, check it out in the last 4 days. Highly recommend it. And so, Jason, now that you guys have, you've pulled it off, you've executed this huge Lantern Festival, what other opportunities do you see for the ballpark in the off season, like the port's off season?
So with the Stockton Lantern Festival, that pretty much occupies all of the off season. So the ports run March through early September. Stockton Lantern Festival takes over construction. It's a 5-week build. So we take over the ballpark starting in the first week of October, and we don't release the ballpark until the first week of March. And then baseball runs April through September. So the ballpark will be pretty much activated year round. There's hopes and wants and talks that are ongoing with the Stockton Ports, myself, and the city, as well as how can we expand. Sometimes we have some restrictions during the season as it relates to MILB standards and regulations and what can happen in the ballpark. But hopefully there are ways that we can find a creative way to work around some of those restrictions so that we can activate, the ballpark on times that the ports are off on a away stand.
I love that. Yeah, it's such a great asset, and I just love that you're looking into it, with what you can do with it. And this was such a good first, example of what's possible.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to talk about a couple of the other venues. So you've mentioned the Bob Hope Theater, and I agree with you. It is a beautiful gem in our downtown. Is there anything that you think people might be surprised to know about the Bob Hope Theater?
So every seat at the Bob Hope Theater is within 30 seconds of an exit.
Wow.
It's something that they took into consideration during the construction in the early 1920s. Who would have thought? And that's probably because, back then they also allowed a lot of smoking in the theater. But something cool, just things that people wouldn't know as we look at the lobby here or the rotunda. That mosaic tile art piece that everyone's standing on in the middle is 80,000 individual pieces of Italian art marble, and they were individually placed into the rotunda floor. That chandelier that hangs above everyone is one of the original installations in the theater that is carefully inspected each and every year. It has a hand crank that you to lower it.
Oh, wow.
It's good and safe, but it's just been modernized and be able to have LED lighting in it. When we look at this, there is actually very little wood inside of the theater. Everything is plaster, everything that looks like wood. So when you look up at the rotunda ceiling and it looks like wood, that's all carved plaster to look like wood and painted to look like wood. So our doors are wood and the handrail is wood, but pretty much everything else is just plaster simulated to look like wood. There are a lot of nooks and crannies in this theater that some people wouldn't ever know about. It's just like all of the organ pipes for the Morton Theater, the Morton organ that lies beneath the stage. All of those are behind the walls, behind art canvas, to the stage left and right, that give a tremendous sound. So if no one has heard this organ play, it's certainly a piece of equipment that you should hear the sound of. And fortunately, it plays once a month at the Friends of the Fox Theater's Classic Movie Day. And, you know, it's a true throwback to the history of the theater, being built for movies, for you to have the opportunity and come and see some of the classic movies played on the large screen. And the Friends of the Fox do a great job of hosting it once a month, and you get to hear the organ. So it's cool. The Bob Hope will also be going through some renovations. The front of the theater is going to get refaced and painted. It hasn't been done since 2002 during the first renovation project. We're also going to do some back of house enhancements to make the experience better for our artists, because it is very much 1929 back there. But we're going to do some, call it beautification projects that help make the experience feel much better and much more elite for them, as a lot of artists are expecting to have this great back of house experience, from cozy furniture to good looking walls and floors, and just whatever fun experiences that we can put and incorporate in there, into the theater. So if you haven't been, come on down. We certainly welcome everyone and anyone, from classic moviegoers to concert, comedy, family show goers. There's nothing that happens at the Bob Hope Theater that doesn't make sure it hits everyone's sort of like it covers the gamut of everybody.
I totally agree. There are tons of opportunities, and it's just stunning. Just walking in, it's just stunning viewing the lobby area even. So do you think that there is a best seat in the house, or is there an area where you think it's just your preferred place to check out the shows?
Yeah, for me, I never sit during a show. I'll stand at the back of the house, which is what we call front of house mix, which is where all the sound and lights produced. But the best seat for any event at the Bob Hope Theater, and I would say any theater that you ever go to, is front row balcony.
Okay.
It is in almost every theater that's upwards of 75 to 100 years old. It's truly a great experience, a great view. It's not too high. It levitates over almost the entire orchestra. And it gives you what feels like part of the experience, because you're so much closer to the stage, and you're not looking up at them, you're looking down at them, but not looking down far at all. It's a great seat, in my opinion.
Wonderful. Thanks for the tip. I can kind of feel the excitement just from how you're describing it. There's no one obstructing your view.
It's a great view. Anytime I'm giving tours to random people that we're doing business with, whenever we're talking, I always go up to the balcony, sit in the front row, because that's the only opportunity I get to sit there. And it's cool. And there are shows that sometimes we just do the orchestra level, and I'll go up and sit there just because it's a cool vibe, even when there's nobody else up in the balcony.
Awesome. So the next venue I want to chat about briefly is the Adventist Health Arena, which you mentioned was recently, branded, renamed. Can you tell us about that process? What led to wanting to go ahead and put a call out for naming rights for the arena, and why is this partnership with Adventist Health so great for downtown Stockton?
All great questions. So as everyone knows, most venues have a name, a brand on them, and it's just not something generic. For a long time, Stockton was just the Stockton Arena. And part of with naming rights and putting a name on the venue goes to show that there's businesses in your community that believe in the vision of the city, believe in the vision of sports and entertainment and what it does for our community and at large. So it not only speaks at a local level with great pride that, hey, there are businesses who really see value in our assets, but also at a more global level. When we put the name Adventist Health on the arena and announced that partnership in October of 2023, Stockton became the number one talked about entertainment venue for ASM Global's portfolio in the country. It had the most number of media attention. So it becomes huge. It's new, especially when it takes 17 years for it to come to fruition. Normally it happens at the groundbreaking of a venue that there's a name on it. But it just shows the vitality of a building, the buy-in of a community, the support of a municipality, and in the importance and pride that goes along with it. For us, Adventist Health makes a great partner. Beautiful view of the venue. Soon it'll have that name. Got the sign company is here, looking at the site right now so that we can raise these signs. But yeah, the beautiful thing with Adventist Health is they believe in giving back to the community as well. They believe in the health and vitality of what live sports and entertainment brings and how well it helps the human as a whole, right? We talked about allowing you to come to an event and forget about the moments that you don't want to have to deal with in life, but you just get to be. There are natural healing elements in that when we get to enjoy fun experiences and new memories. It just helps us as an overall human as we're healing and dealing and coping. But Adventist Health also believes in giving back to the community. So in part of our partnership, we created a fund that I will manage in conjunction with Adventist Health that helps. It's a community fund that will help us bring some of our community members that would not necessarily be able to attend an event at any one of our venues, and then we'll be able to bring some people out. So our first launch of it was with Sensory Night. I reached out to Adventist Health and said, I think this would be a great way to launch it. And we both agreed that we would supply 100 tickets to organization in town that tailors specifically to sensory need youth, so that they could, that are low income, they could come out and experience it. We also did the same thing with working with the Sierra Vista Council at their holiday event in December, and ensuring that we could invite some of that youth out who would otherwise not be able to come to such an experience. And it may be under the Adventist Health Arena name in agreement, but that doesn't mean that we're going to only limit it to our venues here at the arena. But we also, like with Stockton Lantern Festival, it's going to bring it into the ballpark, and we're going to do it over at the Bob Hope Theater. And then there'll also be some opportunities where we tie it into Oak Park Ice Rink with community skating. But we also look at our larger experience with Adventist Health, where we'll be talking about how can we partner and do things for the community at the arena that really promote healthier ways of living and experiencing through preventative care as well as sports and entertainment.
Wonderful. I think those are such great opportunities for youth who maybe wouldn't have a chance to see a show, to get exposure, and that might inspire them in their lives. Maybe they go on to be a performer.
Correct. I say it all the time in all the years I've been doing this and working with so many youth over the years. It's like you look at a crystal clear lake, and you throw that rock in, it creates that ripple effect. And our hope is really to be the ripple. Like maybe we inspire one child who then changes the trajectory of their entire family, right? They're the first to do something that then is their neighborhood and then the community at large. And it just really has that ripple effect and expands. So it's all about touching the one in a positive way, to make sure that they have a more positive trajectory for themselves, and that there's more out there than what they may or may not know. Because, growing up as a young boy myself in a small community, I had no idea that this was even a career opportunity. And now I've been doing this for nearly 27 years next month. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity to showcase to the youth.
Beautiful. Okay, let's shift to the Marina now. So I believe this is the last venue that we're going to talk about. I'm curious, can you tell us about docking fees? Are there spots available for permanent? Boats that
Oh
want to be
boy, those are the tough questions. I know very little about marina life. I knew nothing about it before moving to Stockton. It's our only, at the time, was also our only marina that we managed. Unfortunately, I have a tremendous director of marina who is also from the East Coast, but came to us from England, where he managed a marina with 1,000 boats.
Oh,
So when we took over the marina in 2018, July of 2018, there were 28 slips rented on under a wharfage agreement. We are almost at capacity now with just over 60 boats permanently stationed at our marina. About half of those are what we call liverboards. So people are spending, that is their home. They're spending a great deal of time at the marina and experiencing what life is like on the water in the Delta. But yeah, it's the marina also. So the way the city ordinances work, you get to, you still have to register with us, but through the Stockton Downtown Marina website, but you get to dock for 2 hours free at our docks, which hold up to 75 boats on the north and south side. So you can dock on the north side, which is where the arena is, the hotel and the ballpark, or the south side, which is where the marina is, and be able to walk downtown to eat, catch a movie, or most certainly catch a show. But yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, and excuse me for that, what the rates are, because those are all changing. But we also have the Morelli Boat Launch, which is underneath the 5 and right just past the marina, where you are able to launch your boat and also park it right at our marina docks, our guest docks, which everything is safe, secure. You need to be able to, we need to grant access so that you can get onto the docks. You can't get on them from land without us being able to grant you access through an app on your phone, and then we determine the amount of time and all of that and control it fully. So it's certainly locked, safe, secure with controlled gate access as well as TV system or camera systems. But the marina is something that we're still looking to see how can we activate more. We would really like to be able to bring a boat show. We've done one, worked with Yamaha on being one of 4 sites in the country where they got to display and test drive some of their new boats. We did that 2 years ago, which was a great experience. But we would really like, because there's rare opportunities that you have a marina and an arena on the same body of water by the same people. So it would be a great opportunity for this collaborative effort with a boat show. It's something that we've talked to the city about too. Unfortunately, boat shows are not as popular as they used to be 10 years ago. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to explore and work towards something, because the marina is a great little asset for the city. I mean, we're the farthest inland marina on the Delta. You can get fuel not too far away over at Buckley Cove. So it's great. And, being able to be part of the lighted boat parade that comes through 4th of July is absolutely phenomenal. We're jam-packed at the marina during 4th of July. You can get packages through docking and event going, whether it's for the arena, the pop-up theater, and or the ballpark. We partner with the Stockton ports to make those experiences happen, because we think, if you love being on your boat, it's an experience for sure, and why not enhance that experience with some sort of live sports or entertainment. So we just try to make sure that we collaborate in an effective and meaningful way that can resonate with our boaters.
Love that. Love the opportunity. And it's right in the heart of downtown, which is so, unique and wonderful. I think there's so much you guys could do. I'm looking forward to seeing, what you come up with. And I know
that you're going to rent something this summer, right?
Yes, I would. Yes. Tell us about what's out there to rent recreationally and.
Yeah. So we had tried water bikes. They didn't go over very well. And we did some kayaking. Kayaks rent occasionally, but this past fall we launched donut boats. So you get a little boat, a couple of friends, and you go out for a little experience. This business owner came to us with the idea, wanted to try it. We looked into the feasibility of it and seeing how we could really support them as an organization and make sure it goes back to the true partnership, right? We want it to be successful. And the goal was to launch it in June, but there were some manufacturing issues with getting everything that they needed. So it didn't really launch until early September. And the successes at first launch were really good. They were very pleased with the outcome and the support and the number of rentals that they received. Then once winter hit, slowed down. So they really closed it up for the winter, because it's not something that you're going to really go out and if it's potentially raining.
Freezing.
So
Yeah.
we're really looking forward to seeing what it does this summer. So when it restarts up this spring, I think it'll just be, they want to expand the number of boats that they have here in the offerings. So I really think that it's the pilot program that we launched in the fall is a true success story that I think will be able to play out nicely this summer, and hope that everyone come out and support it, because it's a fun little experience. It's something new. We're always looking for something to do. So why not get out and try something that you haven't done before?
Love it. So look forward to the coconut boat rentals again this coming spring and summer. Good to know. Love it. Okay, we're on the last stretch of my questions, and then we'll open it up for viewer questions. So if anyone watching, you do have a question for Jason, please type it in as a comment and we'll be asking it, okay? But for now, we talked about all the wonderful work that you did in 2023. Now looking forward to this year, what wonderful shows, events, concerts should we be keeping our eyes open for?
For sure, I think, our first big show here at the arena will be Always and Forever. At the Bob Hope Theater will be Brinkos, Dieras, and then the ballpark, the next thing that we'll do after Sunday will be the Stockton Ports kicking off with their home stretch for the 2024 season. So certainly come out and cheer them on. But beyond that, I think, Disney on Ice is going to be a huge success, as I alluded to. Harlem Globetrotters is always a fan favorite. The show that we're going to be announcing shortly in June for families will be great. PBR will be announcing its new date soon. We're working on getting 2 televised boxing events here for 2024, working to bring back live wrestling, whether it's AEW or WWE. 5 or 6 concerts on top of, look at there, Max in the ring. Not Max. Ooh, Duncan. Ooh, that was a throwback to 2016 for me, who our mascot for our hockey team was a lion. See, old age. But it's I think 24 is going to be really promising. I think, like I said, with the addition of a director of booking, it's only going to help really solidify that. And we're going to continue to really develop new relationships with promoters that we haven't been able to work with, but we're going to leverage the strength and the power of ASM Global to really see how we can manage and make mini tours even happen up through the Central Valley. We have a great leverage from Bakersfield to Fresno to Stockton, where we could do 3 city stop tours for a weekend. There are a lot of artists out there that are really looking not to necessarily do long stretch tours, but things that they can go out for a weekend, fly home, spend the week at. So we're really looking at leveraging something like that, as well as leveraging our ties in LA, where one of our corporate offices is, and maybe take some of those LA-based artists and put together these small packages where we can do it. And our hope, the city and I are in conversations, and we'll continue to work in conversations on things that can happen to enhance the entertainment vitality of our community, even beyond our own venue walls. ASM Global may not be necessarily involved in it to the capacity we are when they're in our venues. It may be just more involved on my end and really helping how can we solidify and secure talent. I think Stockton has the viability to put another festival in. So maybe we do a fall festival opposite of the Flavor Fest.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll do something in the fall. And then really we look, we've got spring locked and loaded. We do the same thing in the fall. And then we've got winter lockdown with the Stockton Lantern Festival. Because as we said, that'll be a multi-year venture for this city. And then spattered throughout everything else that we're doing. So I think the future is really great. Since I've been here, we've broken records each and every year.
Yeah.
Outpacing the previous year for the venue, and 2023 just blew it out of the water, and we're truly looking forward to what 2024 holds for us.
Beautiful. And if anyone wants to keep on top of the events that are coming this year, do you guys have a newsletter, or how can they kind of stay on top of that?
Sure. Your best source is certainly StocktonLive.com, which is what covers all of our events, all of the venues. Everything directly comes right from there. And then there's also an opportunity on our website to be able to sign up for upcoming events, news releases, and all of that stuff, just so that you can stay current. Sometimes we don't always push out all the information just because of the timing of things. But our website is always up to date and current. And the second the show is announced, it's posted up on our website, as well as all of our various social media channels.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, just a couple more. So I've got a question. What if someone wants to use one of the venues as for private events? Maybe they want to lease out the ballpark for a wedding, or they have a small band and they do want to, play a show maybe at the Ballpark Theater. How would they kind of go about getting in touch with you and doing that?
Yeah, so they can go right to StocktonLive.com, and under our Contact Us, there's a fill out form that they can do. There may even be, it does pop up an email, so it'll go right to our info line. And they can fill all that out, and it all gets filtered through same day. If it's usually Monday through Friday, if not, it's will be sent to me. But usually within the same day, it's sent off to me, and we respond. Our goal is always to respond in real time, so we don't like anybody to sit and wait in any aspect of what we do.
Wonderful. So there's opportunity there.
Absolutely.
And your work really plays a huge role, as we've talked about, in attracting visitors to downtown. You really are playing a huge role in tourism here. What do you love most about the work that you do? And, where do you see Stockton going as an entertainment destination in the future?
Yeah, for me, I love that it's always changing, that it's not the same thing day in and day out. There are a couple of nuances of, like every job, that are very consistent. As we talked, I'll probably have a couple hundred emails in the time that we've been doing this chat. So I've got that to deal with on a regular basis. And then, there's regular staffing stuff. But it's the constant and ever changing aspect of what we do. Every show is different. We may do Disney on Ice every year, but it's an all new show every single time. So every experience that we have, the group of people that we deal with, is always new. I've been so fortunate that over the 27 years have made some really true lifelong friends, because we all believe in what we do, in the work that we do, in believing in bringing that entertainment experience to our communities. And I think that's really the best part, is knowing that we're playing a positive role in our community in helping change the trajectory and the vision for how people look at things in all aspects of life. Because, they may not go to everything, but they hear about it. And I know when we have a large show that some people aren't at, I get messages when people complain that there's traffic. But in the same breath, they're complaining there's traffic because, and they're also thinking that there's traffic because we bring people downtown. They're just maybe jealous that they're not attending the event.
The show.
They didn't act fast enough and it sold out. But, it's really taking the good, the bad, and everything all together and making the positive out of it. And how can we continue to drive economic viability, as well as family fun, affordable experiences for our community?
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful answer. New every day, and just doing what you can to support and promote our community. I love it. So you go to so many shows. I know you've been to a lot of the restaurants down here. What is, at the moment, your like favorite pre or post show restaurant or bar downtown?
I unfortunately, by the time I am off of work, everything's closed. And usually before is not an option for me. So like most of the time I bring my lunch or I order in, or we also have a full commercial kitchen. So I have the luxury of being able to go cook for myself. But when we have the ability, like on, random off days, like to be able to walk downtown for trail or impresso for coffee, or going to get sushi downtown, it is nice to have that ability to be able to walk before any show and be able to grab a bite to eat, grab a drink. I think what we as a community at large need to really work on, and I do truly believe that it's going to come with the vision plans for Stockton, is having more viable restaurants and bars that stay open a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because, part of your entertainment experience in most markets are you go to the event, you have a great time, and you leave your car in the parking structure and you walk to a local bar or restaurant, and spend an hour or so. And I think it is a great experience, and it's something I know that current leadership in city government have for the city of Stockton and the downtown business district. I know that DSA also is looking forward to something like that. And I believe that once we start to see all of the legwork that's been happening behind the scenes come to fruition, the trajectory of our city is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And we certainly owe a lot of that to the city leadership, both elected and non-elected, because I think that driving force is critical, and listening to us as business partners and what makes sense and what's going to really help keep Stockton viable.
I love it. Looking for more opportunities, for restaurants to stay open later. But in the meantime, I love your picks. I love Trail, all the coffee shops. We have a great coffee, we're a great coffee destination if you're looking for your morning.
I like Trail because I have celiac disease, so I have the ability on Tuesday, Thursdays to get some gluten-free product there. So it's a little selfish on my part because those types of establishments are very limited for me here. But I make sure that I frequent all the small and local businesses when I can.
Awesome. Okay, so before we move on to audience questions, and it just looks like there's maybe 3 of them, can you just remind everyone, how can they get in touch with you? How can they learn more about anything that you've shared today? You've shared so much today, Jason. What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, the best way would certainly be through our website, through our Contact Us portal at stocktonlive.com. Because a lot of that will get filtered. A lot of people will be able to answer a lot of things, maybe more quickly than I, whereas I respond to 300 to 500 emails a day. So my staff thinks it's crazy about the number of emails that I fly out. But yeah, through our website, through stocktonlive.com, and Contact Us is certainly the best way to be able to contact with anyone on our team. The beautiful thing about that is it is viewed fairly real time and pushed off to the best person suited to be able to answer those responses in all aspects. And if it's not something that's within our purview, we certainly know who to be able to reach out to in one of our organizations so that we can get it in the hands of the best person. And the thing with us is, because it's important to me, is that we also follow up to make sure that things get closed. So if I were to send an email off to say you, Courtney, I'd follow up and make sure that you close that thread with whomever we pass it off to, just because I'm sort of neurotic in that sense. I like to make sure that things are closed, and I like to keep my inbox as empty as possible. It's not a good quality of mine that I just put my OCD requires me to just stay on top of stuff and become this little taskmaster. So StocktonLive.com and contact us is the best way to ask and get answers.
You will get a reply, as you just heard. You will definitely get a reply.
You better. If you don't, follow up, because then I won't be happy.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for answering all of my questions. I know we're a few minutes over. Yeah, no problem. So let me just show you a couple of audience questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. So the first one is a comment. This is from Damon Alums. He says, Stockton is a blue-collar town, true, but it dresses up so wonderfully. Exploring that potential through music is a great idea. So he's down for more, concert, music, entertainment.
Perfect.
Lovely.
And I like the LinkedIn photo that he uses.
Cool. It looks kind of dramatic, huh? Very neat.
Add me on LinkedIn.
There you go. Thank you, Damon, for your comments. And this is a question. So this is from Johnny Palacios. He's asking, did the Lantern Festival bring in more people than expected? And will the event be coming back? So we kind of talked about the event will come back, but it'll be slightly different. But yeah, maybe you can tell us about the attendance numbers.
For sure. Yeah, the event will be back. This is a multi-year contract that we signed a 3-year deal to really explore the vitality and viability of it here in the region. So year one, we're all very pleased with it. In year two, we anticipate that it should probably double in numbers if we look at trends throughout the country and when there's a new year first time event like this. So Stockton Lantern Festival as a brand will remain in that name. The tagline, like this year, was Coda's Journey to the Magic Forest. It still will be Stockton Lantern Festival. It's going to be Coda's Journey. He's just going to go to a whole new place. So as I've said in multiple TV interviews since we launched Stockton Lantern Festival, I said it's really where Coda is going to take us. So, this year's the Amazon or the rainforest of Peru. Next year it could be Antarctic. It could be out of space. It could be under the Arctic, the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean. It could be Nepal. Who knows where Coda is going to bring us? But hopefully we'll be able to announce all of that a lot earlier this year. You'll see a lot more promotions coming. Stockton Lantern Festival on Instagram and Facebook will stay live and stay active, and we'll be teasing it in hopefully early July. You'll start seeing lanterns appear in our city to help start promoting what the 24-25 experience will be.
Love it.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yes. Thank you, Johnny, for your question. And here I've got a question from Sean Chad. The question is, are there plans to do other holiday-themed festivals in the ballpark or arena? For example, a Halloween Horror Nights type of festival. So I know you kind of talked a little bit about this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so with the ballpark, it's a little tough just because we occupy it for such a long period of time to be able to build this capacity event that Stockton Lantern Festival is. At the arena, we've talked with other shows about how we can do sort of themed events, and it's not something that we're ruling out. I've been in other markets where we did a rock concert that was all themed around Halloween in the season that it was. So it was more of a dark experience.
That's cool.
Just more heavy metal. But it all played into the spook and horror of Halloween. So those are things that we certainly are not going to rule out. And we're going to continue to explore and see what we can make happen, both in the ASM managed venues and then other city properties.
Love it. So it looks like possibility for that in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then we've got just one last question. This is from Damon again. So thank you, Damon. The question is, in growing visibility for the city, is it more effective to target younger folks, older folks, or is it situational with certain venues and events for younger folks, etc.? So how do you target them? Yeah.
For us, we really want to cater to everyone. So, my theory is birth to end of life. Sounds weird, but I didn't want to use death. But all ages. So we're ranging from a few months old to 105, we'll say. And because everyone has an economic viability for our municipality in what they can bring and the experiences that they have. So most of our shows will have a wide range population that can attend. We certainly want to look at the youth because we want to make sure that we're providing an opportunity that keep our youth active and interested in our community, to make sure that if they do go away for higher education because they choose not to seek higher education within San Joaquin County, but they want to come back. Our goal is to continue to drive people to stay in our community, be proud of our community, and continue to drive the economic viability of this community. Being an outsider in Stockton, I can say that Stockton has a lot of resilience, a lot of vitality, and a lot of care and passion. It's the narrative that we just need to continue to push forward. Stockton is a viable city. I have seen tremendous growth since I have been here, and we want to retain that pride and speak about the pride. The past is the past and we can't forget it, but we have learned from it and we need to continue to grow forward with it. If we continue to hold on to the past and the way things were, we don't see a viable future and a viable path. Stockton is on a great trajectory and wonderful things are going to come for people of all ages. So we're going to continue to target shows that hit all aspects, all genres of interest, as well as all ages, because it's what will drive the future of sports and entertainment in our community.
I love that. Something for everyone,
Exactly.
Gotta have something for everyone.
Right.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for those of you who tuned in and you asked a question. And thank you, Jason, for fielding those questions. And I just want to give you now an opportunity before we close out. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the community or that you think people should know about downtown Stockton, the venues here, or ASM?
I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to everyone that comes out and supports everything that we do, everyone that supports the city of Stockton, the future that is bright here, and really looking forward to what's to come. I hope that everyone has the opportunity to visit any one of our venues and experience any one of the shows that we put on by staying current and live at stocktonlive.com. I want to thank you, Courtney, for having the opportunity to have us on and talk about the great things that ASM Global is doing here in the city of Stockton in partnership with everyone. The great work that the DSA does for our downtown community, because it really takes a collaborative effort for all of us. DSA, Visit Stockton Chamber, ASM, the city, all of our local businesses and other nonprofits to make things continue to grow and develop in a positive light. And I think for sure Stockton is entering this real renaissance period that great things are coming.
I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jason, and for all of the work that you do for promoting tourism and economic development in downtown Stockton. And thank you so much to the viewers for tuning in. I hope you all learned a little something and that you'll come down and check out some of these wonderful events that Jason's been putting on at our downtown venues. And I just want to remind everyone, this video has been streaming live to LinkedIn and YouTube, where we are at Downtown Stockton. And I just want to say thanks so much again to everybody. And with that, have a great day downtown. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.